Hello and welcome to the Three Will Podcast. This is your host Danny Ryan, and I'm here with Tommy Ryan. How you doing, Tommy?
Good. What happened to the co-host thing?
I'm here with co-host Tommy Ryan. How you doing, Tommy?
I'm doing well.
I can make quick modifications. That's fine. How are you doing, co-host?
Doing fine, co-host.
How you feeling, co-host?
Just wonderful.
Good.
All that thunder and rain and lightning, I'm all refreshed.
Did you? I guess all your grass is turning green now,
Oh, yeah,
and your
it's
plants
looking
are
awesome.
starting to wake up, and
Yeah, the garden's actually getting a good start.
awesome. Yeah, we've got a nice little dogwood tree in our backyard that's waking up. It's been fun to watch it start to bloom.
Yeah, did you lose all the flowers on it from the rain?
No.
Okay,
It looks.
did.
It's. Oh, you did? Really?
Yeah, ours bloomed a couple weeks back.
Oh, it's just starting to bloom. So, I guess I'm a little bit further north than you. I guess. I don't know what
Garden talk with Three Will.
Garden talk. Yeah, there you go. You can probably talk for the next 8
Yeah,
hours.
that'd be a couple hours long.
Yeah. Okay. So today's subject is using SharePoint as a knowledge base, and I just wanted to talk to you sort of about some recent trends that you've been seeing with customers using SharePoint as a knowledge base. I think this has been around for a long time, as far as using SharePoint as a repository for information inside of your organization, and I guess what you're seeing more recently is how can we this is a internal or external facing knowledge bases is what let's start off with that.
Well, when you look at Three Will, in a sense, as a portal, it's a knowledge base by default. It's where you're storing content and records, and you want to go back and retrieve it. And, it's a place to share things. And that, in a sense, I think is a knowledge repository. Then, as an organization, you have certain kind of lines of business and areas of specialization, and some organizations, they have call centers, and so a knowledge base is a function of a call center that they need to answer questions for people that call in a way to have say knowledge engineers collect the information needed to share with others or to be discovered by their call center representatives. And so that can be an internal quote knowledge base. I mean, it's customer facing, but someone is aiding them on their behalf to get to that knowledge. And then you can take that knowledge base and make it self-serve to your customers, and making sure you have the right security and the right ease of use to make your customers happy when they come to look for that knowledge. And you see that in different forms. I mean, you see it in documentation and articles. You can see it in forums or discussion groups. There's different ways to kind of collect and share knowledge and make that accessible to your end user.
What have you found has been the primary reason why people are thinking of SharePoint for doing this? Is it just sort of the built-in capabilities? Is it how you can extend it? Is there what sort of things are people coming up with as far as why they're using SharePoint?
Well, when someone goes to think about a knowledge base, there are products just specifically for that, that you have to, in a sense, change your process to adapt to what that tool has to offer. The thing that we've always found with SharePoint and why we've picked it as a platform for us is it's an extendable platform and allows you to do things that, soften the edges of the solution. So SharePoint gives you a great running head start for a lot of the things that you need to care about as it relates to a knowledge base. You need to have, content management and kind of web content management and document content management. And of course, that's a very, very strong area for SharePoint. So, document management through versioning and records management and being able to publish and unpublish content and be able to, control the flow of when content goes from ideation to revision to final publicizing that information. So those are two very core areas, content management for web and document content. And then workflow is definitely an aspect that SharePoint has a lot going for it, versus other tools that might be very limited in terms of what you could do with workflow. And another very, very key area is search. Mm-hmm. And what we found is, a very strong aspect of bringing together a platform that has both search and content management. Not a lot of those platforms are strong in both, and SharePoint has a lot of going for it as it relates to now that you've authored all this content, when someone is answering a call and wants to get to that knowledge using search and search refiners and all the things that you can do to enhance that search experience.
And I just published a blog post from Bo on managed metadata, so that probably feeds into this as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to tune your search results is through managed metadata. So you do have those refiners on the left. For those that don't know what refiners are, think of Amazon, when you start filtering down and, selecting different attributes. Most of the commerce sites that you go to, you'll see, is it men's or women's clothing? Is it a shirt, jacket, or pants? Those type of attributes that help you drill down to a subset of information where you're going to find what you're looking for.
When prepping for this, you were saying something about translation services, that you can also use that as part of SharePoint as well.
Yeah, a real cool aspect of SharePoint is the ability to send out content for translation and for that to be created for you and kind of automated for you. And so that's kind of an exciting aspect. So if you have to support Spanish as a language in your call center, you can submit that to Bing Translation Services, and it comes back and is publicized in a Spanish version of the site.
Now, since this is customer facing, has branding come up, or where's branding in all of this? Is it not really an emphasis? It's just they're trying to get the information, or any branding topics come up?
Yeah, I think it is. Branding in its sense, just in general. It's not knowledge base specific. It's more of I've got a company brand that I want to emphasize, and we've seen it where people put a very strong branding effort for internal because it's just part of their culture and their brand. Mm-hmm. And then also when it's external facing, you want to pay attention to those details, and so that definitely comes into play when we're looking at knowledge bases to put the appropriate level of branding.
Were there any discussions on whether visitors might be using a mobile device, and any sort of designs around how making sure it works well on mobile?
Yeah, and that's similar to branding, where anytime we do something, we talk about the mobile experience and what the customer wants to have as it relates to different form factors accessing the site. So we have, with our knowledge bases, made them mobile responsive. And so you just have to pay attention to what functionality within the solution is appropriate for mobile, and how do you resize and snap into a different form factor when someone accesses it from a phone or a tablet.
Are people doing this are they doing it on SharePoint Online, or are they doing it on SharePoint On-Prem, or it just doesn't matter?
We're seeing it more on SharePoint On-Prem, especially if it becomes mission critical and you want to control the response time. So you can scale your farm as you need it. Office 365, it's viable, and we see it. Probably haven't seen it as much at large scale. And we've looked at Azure too as another option for that if you want to, quote, have it in the cloud but have control over the scale of the operation. Because we look at designing these knowledge-based solutions to have a very heavy search component. And if you do have a lot of load from incoming calls, you want to make sure search is not a bottleneck. And so you're dedicate some of the front end servers to the search query processing.
Excellent. Anything else you've been noticing at all when people are looking at using SharePoint as a knowledge base?
I think, and you talked about it before, the managed metadata. Having an information architect as part of the team to drive out the taxonomy of your organization, understanding, how do you name things and what are synonyms for those things that you name. So no matter what someone searches for, they're going to have a fast path to, finding that knowledge because you've categorized it well. So that, managed metadata is a very key exercise. It's going to influence your search experience, probably even your navigation experience, to be able to drive down into the details. Another aspect that we didn't mention, but when you're thinking about knowledge bases, if it's an internal knowledge base and you don't have any SLAs on a response to getting to the answer in that knowledge base, then you might not care about how fast you get there. If you can get there eventually, you're okay. But in a call center, you're really caring about that response time. So we've looked at different ways to get to knowledge and using things like decision trees to allow you to kind of look at it as a script that, say, someone in the call center would have to ask the right questions to get to the right answer. But putting that in a visual flow where instead of you opening up a Word document and looking through the script, we have visual big buttons that drive you through that flow and give you a breadcrumb at the top to, say, hop back somewhere in that flow if you went down the wrong path. So we're finding that's a great way to enhance the user experience and increase the performance of your call center. Excellent.
And since we're talking about customer service and sort of self-service and this sort of reminds me of a lot of the recent conversations we've been having about Net Promoter Score. Is that sort of, as far as looking at doing this project, is that one of the underlying key metrics that you're trying to address is Net Promoter Score?
Yeah, we're on a really big knowledge-based project today, and that is the driver. There's a very poor NPS score that they've got a goal to raise that, and this is instrumental to that initiative to raise that NPS score.
Excellent. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's good. I mean, there's more to talk about. We'd love to talk to you about knowledge bases and how that can help your organization and what you can leverage out of the box. We think the beauty of SharePoint, there's the ability to configure a lot of what you need to do as part of a knowledge-based solution. And if you've got control of scaling and, to think about, the power that you have in the search experience and the content management experience and the workflow and the managed metadata. There's just so many things that SharePoint has going for it to fit as a knowledge-based solution.
Absolutely. If you're looking to do this, please drop by our website, 3will.com. Contact us page is a great place to get started, and would love to continue this conversation with you. Thank you for doing this, Tom.
Sure thing.
Nice socks. Are those the...
Look at that.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to listen today, and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.